ओजोनोस्फीयर बोला जाता है. There exactly the thinning is happening. The thinning of the ozone layer in the atmosphere is known as ozone depletion. What is the benefit of the ozone layer? Right? The ozone layer, second. The ozone layer prevents the plants and animals on the surface of the earth. Ozone layer prevents the plants and animals on the surface of the earth from the harmful effects of the UV radiations. Harmful effects of UV radiations. Harmful effects of UV radiation. Next is mention 2 reasons for the breakdown of the ozone. Number one, chlorofluorocarbon, CFC, chlorofluorocarbon, spelling correct. Chlorofluorocarbon, released from coolants, refrigerators, fire extinguishers, etc. Aerosols, number 2. Aerosols, AEROSOLS. Aerosols, aircrafts, aerosols, harmful gases, aircrafts kato, aerosols, harmful gases released from aircrafts, chemical factories, etc. Chemical factories, etc. Break down the triatomic form of oxygen. Next question is, name 2 reasons. So these are the 2 reasons that you write. Next is effect. Okay, before that, this also is important. What is the role of CFC in ozone depletion? This is important. Please add this question. What is the role of CFC? We are saying that CFC is released. You are also asked, then what does the CFC do? What is its role? What is the role of CFC in ozone depletion? Right? CFC, just you will have to write down this. This is not a well-balanced equation. This is basic chemical equation where you are showing that CFC can break down the ozone to nascent oxygen. This is known as active oxygen. Nascent oxygen, which now starts reacting with other different components in the atmosphere, forming harmful compounds. Write down CFC, break down the triatomic form of oxygen to oxygen molecule and nascent oxygen. Oxygen molecule and nascent oxygen. Next line, nascent oxygen is unstable. Nascent oxygen is unstable and forms other harmful compounds. Nascent oxygen is unstable and forms other harmful compounds. Next is mention two effects. Mention two effects. Number one, mention two effects. Number one, excessive exposure to UV rays. Excessive exposure to UV rays results in stunted growth, results in stunted growth, comma, yellowing and rolling of leaves, yellowing, rolling of leaves, yellowing, rolling of leaves, comma, delayed germination and flowering in plants. Delayed germination and flowering in plants. Delayed germination and flowering in plants. Point number two, in animals, it results in, in animals, excessive exposure to UV rays. In animals, excessive exposure to UV rays results in skin rashes leading to skin cancer, comma, birth defects, comma, cataract, and other metabolic disorders. Cataract and other metabolic disorders. बहुत सारे हैं. So few to remember. How is ozone formed in the atmosphere? Right? Ozone is naturally formed in the atmosphere. Ozone is naturally formed in the atmosphere by combination of the oxygen molecule, by combination of oxygen molecule with atoms of oxygen. Combination of oxygen molecule with atoms of oxygen. So what is the concept that you are understanding? In earlier years, what happened? The environmental conditions were different, so this was steady. Ozone used to be steady a component. Nowadays, ozone is not a steady component. Constantly it is getting broken down and again formed, broken down and again formed. And in certain areas, the breakage has been massive. So though we are saying ozone hole, always to remember there is no physical hole as such, only that the layer is becoming thin down. The layer is getting thin. So that is the worry now. The last concept, very simple, waste disposal. There's nothing that I can explain as such new. There is nothing there. What are the methods of waste disposal? There are 6 methods of waste disposal that we are to talk about. What is the first method? See there the word landfill. The 6th method, just take a note of what the method and you know the method. The first method of safe disposal of the waste. Number 1, landfilling. What is landfilling? If I talk about the first method, is landfilling. Do you have any idea what is landfilling? Landfilling would be that when we are talking about waste land, no, and then all the waste substances of the of big areas. Maybe now I talk about of an entire town, city, the waste substances. Majorly what type of waste? Non-biodegradable waste also can go there. Majorly all the non-biodegradable waste will all be all thrown there from time to time. And this results in, because there is no decomposition, so this will result in making the entire surface harder. So, and on top of that, again, they will result in the formation of, after a number of years, when enough number of layers have been formed, they may result in the formation of, they may result in spraying of or applying some layers of tar. So that way, left land, waste land have also been converted into some usable areas by the process of land filling. But is the concept of landfilling the same as composting? No, there's a fine difference. When I talk about composting, what is done? Composting is generally done in the view to get some manure. Landfilling manure के लिए नहीं किया जाता. Landfilling is एक waste land को एक productive land बनाना है. So what would be there? There are many cities now in our country where landfilling होने के बाद now these are proper settlements. School, college, residential areas बन गया है. So that is landfilling. You know any certain areas, any certain cities and towns in our country जो landfilling से बना है? Delhi, Noida. The entire setup is by landfilling. Almost 2-3 decades back, these were all 2-3-4 decades back. They were all waste land. Or in a period of time, places in Chennai, many places in the south also, waste land. Today, now they are productive areas, shopping malls, school, colleges, etc. But few decades back, they were just waste land. So that is landfilling. But if I talk about the other method, what is the other method? The other method is composting. Composting, you know, what is composting? All the biodegradable waste किया जाता है here. All the biodegradable waste has to be thrown, collected, and covered with soil. Again, put all the biodegradable waste, cover with soil. And this has been done for a couple of weeks to months. And after that, what do we get? A process of decomposition happens and we get manure. And this manure can be now used in agricultural lands for farming, etc. This is composting. Then we talk about the 3 R's. This is very common. 3 R's क्या है? Reduce, recycle, reuse. You get very simple questions. Reduce what? Reduce what? Non-renewable. Non-renewable resource. Reduce the use. Reduce the use of what? Non-renewable resources such as non-renewable और non-biodegradable same नहीं है. Non-biodegradable glass, metal, non-biodegradable है. Non-renewable fossil fuel, non-renewable है. So reduce. We are going to reduce what? Reduce the use of petrol, coal, all these. Reduce and switch over to what? Solar energy, solar panels, tidal energy, wind energy, etc. Q. Why? Because the renewable sources of energy will take a long number of years to be replenished back. So that's why reduce. Reduce the usage of water, reduce the usage of electricity, etc. Reuse what? Reuse what? Reuse what? Paper. Reuse what? Cloth. We talk about all the rags and the clothes that we have at home. Convert them something useful. You have to write specific examples. Reuse what? Reuse plastic you may not reuse. That goes for recycle. That comes under the category of recycle. Reuse various different types of fabrics. Reuse glass bottles. Reuse when we are talking about the metal cans, etc. For a short period of time, we can reuse them. Recycle what? What is the benefit of recycling and what is the disadvantage of recycling?
Ma'am, what about cans?
Metal cans I told you, but metal cans have got a small shelf life. Metal can हम लोग 4 बार धो के उसको recycle नहीं कर सकते. Glass bottles जब तक नहीं टूट रहा है we can recycle. But metal cans within a short period of time we'll have to throw them because they start getting rusted. So when we are talking about recycle, what is the advantage and disadvantage part of it? Advantage recycling का क्या है? The huge load of waste can be minimized and productive items can be made. Disadvantage क्या है? Chemicals and there is an extra amount of Power and energy utilized. It's an expensive process. No, can we do recycling at home? No, we cannot do. What are some of the R's we can follow at home? Reuse and reduce. Recycle आप घर पे नहीं कर सकते. It has to be done in the factories and industries, which require additional power and energy. Economy जाता है उसमें. So the three R's. What is now the fourth one? The fourth one that we talk about is known as incineration. What is incineration? All these points you will read. It's mentioned in the volume also. Incineration. Incineration क्या है? Burning of the huge amount of waste. So I talk about all the dried leaves and the farm waste and heaps ahead. And then when we put fire, what happens? A heap of waste gets all burned up. And what are we getting? All the inorganic substances we are getting, which will get mixed with the soil, add nutrients to the soil. So what is the disadvantage part of this? Harmful gases. Harmful gases. So much of smoke. So there are some harmful gases also, some carbon compounds are also released in the process, and smoke, tremendous amount of smoke. So there are methods by which we can process the smoking inside glass panels also. ये है incineration. Then we talk about the segregation. Segregation is what? What is the concept of segregation? We all are doing this. What is segregation? Segregate the biodegradable from the non-biodegradable waste every time. Segregate the biodegradable and the non-biodegradable. Why? Why should we segregate the biodegradable? Because because you have to write from the perspective of the non-biodegradable. क्योंकि non-biodegradable will remain on the surface of the earth for years. They will not get mixed with the soil. So better we segregate and think of recycling or something like that, and let the degradable ones get mixed with the soil. So that is segregation. And next is we talk about the sixth method, that is treatment. What is treatment? Treatment is when we are talking about for the treatment only one concept you have to understand: sewage. What is sewage? Sewage is the municipal waste. The waste from the houses, offices, school, college, airport, railway stations, all these has to be now collected and they are drained. And now that they are drained, they will be drained in a particular process. And there are some series of tanks. Now that this huge amount of waste on a daily basis, they are treated. These are known as treatment plants. तो ये ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट्स में तीन तरह के ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट्स होता है और टैंक्स होती है. What are the three types of tanks? You'll have to get a fair idea. It's all mentioned there. What are the three types of tanks? One is the mechanical separation. Second is the chemical, and third is the biological. So what are we understanding by mechanical or physical treatment? Mechanical treatment मतलब क्या? All these waste substances are passed through certain tanks first of all, so that all the hard substances or because we are talking about waste from various different the slaughterhouses, सारे से आता है. So now, if at all there are some big chunks, solid substances, masses are there, let them all get separated. So by the third and the fourth stand, now that the waste substances go, this is all in the form of semi-fluid substances. This semi-fluid substances has to be treated again with various different type of chemicals. Various different type of chemicals are used in the treatment so that the complex components are getting converted into some simpler non-toxic forms. So simpler non-toxic forms. उसके बाद this is happening in another 2-3 tanks. उसके बाद in the last 2-3 tanks biological treatment होगा with the help of some aerobic bacteria. And the bacteria will again break down the toxic substances, whatever left, into now non-toxic forms. And after that, in the last tank, what are we going to get? There will be a thick layer of some semi-solid substance. So in the last tank, the situation is something like this. In the last tank, there will be a layer of some semi-solid substance, जिसको sludge बोलते हैं, and this can be used as manure. And what about the liquid that is getting collected up there? This liquid can be This is not clear water, but this is comparatively turbid. तो ये जो water collect हुआ है at the upper layers, not water, the fluid I should say, this can be again used for other different type of washing, cleaning as fluids, as solvents, but not general. This is again processed and they are again used for various different type of usages, especially in certain factories, industries, they can be generally used. And this generally used as manure. So what are the 6 methods of waste disposal? These basic 6 methods and a fair idea you should have on this. Yeah. So this is what you study from this chapter. So as such, we are done with the syllabus. Now you'll have to go through, find out what is not very clear, and you'll have to come across whenever depletion of the ozone. I was saying that if there is a, now that there is a ozone layer, this ozone layer is supposed to have a specific thickness, but this thickness in certain geographical areas it is getting thinner. Why? But you may also, you should have also asked me that you are talking about Australia and New Zealand, वहाँ पे the factories industries compared to USA and all these continents much lesser है. But यहाँ पे atmospheric pressure and etc. wind currents भी बहुत different है. That's the reason they are carried, and this is the reason where the effect is happening. We are not saying that Australia is a continent जहाँ पे maximum number of industrial factories नहीं है, but this is the area which is affected because of the atmospheric depression and the area that way, the pressure that way. So यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? These different type of chemical substances are breaking down the ozone this way. And this is the nascent oxygen resulting in the formation of other different harmful poisonous chemical components in the atmosphere. ये है concept of ozone depletion. तो अगर ozone layer thin होगा, then what? UV radiation ज़्यादा penetrate हो पाएगा, come on the surface of the earth. ज़्यादा come on the surface of the earth, then what? The plants also will suffer. The points that I gave you. The animals will suffer. How the points I gave you. Then how to prevent? How to protect? Look for alternatives. Today the ACs etc. that we use, the aircrafts when they take up, they have already started switching on to other different type of fuel, include different type of chemical component in the fuel so that the harmful component releasing into the atmosphere is comparatively lesser. So step by step 6-7 questions I had given you, see that you understand. Okay. Now when we are talking about should we go for oral or written, we'll have time for written. Written करना है. Oral better. No, you have written so much. चलेगा? चलो. We'll start with this. Now all over. What is selective reabsorption?
Transfer of materials from the
Be very specific. Selective reabsorption, where does it take place? Sit and answer. Cool. What is selective reabsorption?
nephrons.
हाँ, नेफ्रॉन के कौन से पार्ट में?
ECD.
सिलेक्टिव रीअब्जॉर्प्शन कहाँ पे?
ECD.
ECT क्या है? अरे PCT होता है, ECT नहीं होता. DCT. Revision. You are extremely confused. Selective reabsorption. What is it? Whatever. I want to ask minimum 20-25 questions. Enough time है. What is selective reabsorption? Girls. याद है selective reabsorption बोलो. What is selective reabsorption?
So some important materials like glucose and amino acids are selectively reabsorbed or
Serious.
transported from the DCT,
नहीं.
blood vessel to DCT.
नहीं, selective reabsorption में DCT is not there at all. So think and answer. Selective reabsorption. What is happening in this process?
Glucose and amino acids and other etc. materials. Sodium are
Moving
getting.
from where to where?
They are moving from the nephron to the blood vessels.
They are moving from the nephron to the blood vessels, and the first part of the nephron भी लिखोगे तो भी चलेगा. Even if you don't remember to write PCT and Lukov family, the first part of the nephron. So what are you writing? What is selective reabsorption? The diffusion of essential substances like glucose, water, sodium from the first part of the nephron to the nearby blood vessel. Why is selective reabsorption necessary? Give one reason that selective reabsorption is an essential part of the filtration of blood.
Selective reabsorption is an important part of filtration of blood to keeping the necessary substances from the
In the blood
in the
and
blood.
maintain. Why is selective reabsorption necessary? To maintain the composition and volume of the blood. To maintain the composition and volume of the blood. What is meant by when we are talking about the concept of the heart? When we are talking about the concept of the heart, what was the function of the tricuspid valve? Function of the tricuspid valve
Prevent the blood flow
from याद रखना हमेशा
right ventricle to right
auricle. Very good. Right ventricle to right auricle. And where is the mitral valve or the bicuspid valve located? What is double circulation? Double circulation, what is it? In 2-3 lines if you have to write. What is double circulation? What is double circulation? कैसे frame करोगे answer? Your entire thought should come in your sentences. The clarity should be there in your answer. What is double circulation?
Passes to the heart twice. For reaching to the
नहीं. Twice को थोड़ा सा explain करना है. Passes to the heart twice. Once in a
from right
From lungs to the heart, heart to the body, then again heart, body to the heart, heart to the lungs.
examiner खुद घूमती रह जाएगी बातें. Looking into your answer. Your answer should be very clear. What is double circulation? Tell me again, very fast, very neat, nice, good answer. What is double circulation?
process in which blood passes to the heart twice as it
Once in a deoxygenated manner. From where to where?
from heart to
Lungs and back to heart.
lungs and then back
And again as oxygenated form,
from lungs.
heart to body parts and back to the heart. So when we are talking about the process of photosynthesis, when we talk about the process of photosynthesis, what were the 3 events of photosynthesis? अभी डाउट छोड़, अभी मेरा आंसर पहले
When the photosynthesis takes place,
3 events during photosynthesis.
the key events during the photosynthesis are as follows. First is the absorption of light energy by the chlorophyll and conversion of that conversion into chemical energy,
Conversion of light energy into chemical. ये separate points लिखना है.
and then reduction of the carbon dioxide.
Conversion of light energy to chemical energy and
Going from
एक और point है उसमें conversion of breakdown of water to form oxygen and hydrogen. Now you come to the third point.
the third point is the carbon dioxide.
Reduction of carbon dioxide
to
form carbohydrate, that is glucose. Carbohydrate, glucose. What is the function of insulin? अच्छा, control coordination not done. पूछूं? Control coordination. हाँ. Doubt है. What is it?
To regulate the glucose level in the blood.
Insulin. No, wrong है.
Regulate
Regulate नहीं लिखेंगे for insulin. नहीं. Slower. When you are writing insulin regulates, and what is glucagon doing? I told you this repeatedly. Name the function of insulin, lower the glucose concentration in the blood. What is the function of glucagon? Raise the or increase the level of glucose in the blood. What are the hormones responsible for the regulation of the glucose concentration? Then you have to write insulin and glucagon both. Insulin and glucagon both. Give two examples of parasites. Two examples of Red Bull parasite. Two examples of parasites, parasitic mode of nutrition. Leech and Hydra. Hydra parasite है. Cascata. When you are taught that's a plant, parasitic plant, tapeworm, you would have written tapeworm, roundworm, flatworms, all these are parasites. Leeches, they're all parasites. Then next is name the blood vessel which carries deoxygenated blood from the body parts towards the heart. Vena cava. What are the two major vena cava in our body? नहीं, उसका मैंने specific term दिया था, वो term लिखना. Superior and inferior. Upper body, lower body है. Better write a specific word. Superior, inferior, इतना याद रख सकते हो. That is what you'll have to write down. What is the role of the bile salts in the process of digestion? And what is emulsification? Into smaller molecules. What are the three steps of protein digestion in the body? In the small intestine.
Stomach. When pepsinogen gets converted into pepsin, it turns now protein into peptides, peptones, and then in the
Small intestine.
in duodenum, the enzyme secreted by pancreas trypsin breaks down this peptones into peptides.
Peptides. And last, eco step
Amino acids.
Peptides will be broken down by intestinal enzymes, amino acids. What are the end product of digestion of proteins, carbohydrates and fats? Proteins, carbohydrates and fats, they are ultimately digested. Yes, class. अभी सब लोग ढूंढने में लगे हैं. सब लोग अभी ढूंढो. Close your books, all of you. Close down. Simplest form of digestion. Simplest form of digestion of proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. What are those? Proteins into amino acids, carbohydrates into glucose. So when we are talking about what are the differences between, can you tell me two major differences between inhalation and exhalation? Inhalation, what happens to the ribs during inhalation? What happens to the ribs during inhalation and exhalation? Oh, I'm not able to hear what she's saying. Alright, शुरू करो. What happens during inhalation? What happens? Ribs expand नहीं होता. Ribs does not expand. The ribs are moving forward and upward. And exhalation, ribs are moving backward and downward. What happens to the diaphragm during inhalation, exhalation? उसको बोलने दो.
Time during relation to right of relaxation.
Then contracts
Contracts
and becomes
and flatten.
During exhalation
It relaxes and lets out, allowing more oxygen to get allowing more oxygen.
समझ के पढ़ो. Whenever you are reading anything, don't be in a hurry to just finish. या फिर 8 बज गया मुझे ये खत्म करना है. No, better take another 1 hour read to understand. समझ के पढ़ो. एक बार का रिवीजन अच्छी तरह से करोगे, you will remember it forever. Then, which was the hormone responsible for selective reabsorption? ADH. ADH is now that's a part of control coordination. If I extend further, what is the major difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration? Aerobic respiration क्या है? Aerobic respiration, what will you write? What is aerobic respiration?
It is the respiration in which oxygen is.
It is the respiration मतलब. It is the respiration मतलब. What is aerobic respiration? क्या हो रहा है? इस प्रोसेस में हो क्या रहा है? Aerobic respiration में क्या हो रहा है? Respiration मैं क्या समझूं? मुझे नहीं पता respiration क्या है. तुमको breaking down of glucose in presence of oxygen to give rise to products. ATP. Name the type of human tissues which also respires anaerobically. Skeletal muscle. Don't write muscles because the cardiac muscles don't show anaerobic. Muscles of the stomach don't show anaerobic. It is only the muscles of the hands and the legs, etc. So skeletal muscle लिखना बहुत जरूरी है. So what is that compound which is formed during anaerobic respiration in human? During anaerobic respiration in human, what is that compound formed in the muscle tissues? अरे तब तो कितना अच्छा होता हमारे मसल्स में इथेनॉल. Lactic acid. So what is the कितना लीटर वाटर? How many liters you are bringing? Name the products formed by anaerobic respiration in the human body cells. Lactic acid. Give me one more example of an organism which shows anaerobic respiration. So the product in the body of the yeast is what? By anaerobic respiration? Ethanol. This process of formation of ethanol is known as what? Process of formation of fermentation. Give 2 uses of fermentation. Baking industries and breweries and baking. हर एक टॉपिक टाइम हो गया क्या? तो मैं बंद करूं और वो भागे. Read very specific. ये जो questions है हर एक टॉपिक पढ़ के try to understand these questions. जो डाउट है doubt solving में पूछो. And 10th standard be very serious and study hard and do very good in the exam.